Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jim and Sam Town Square. I'm Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles, and I'm joined, as always, by multi-Emmy Award-winning television producer Chris Cangilla. In this episode, we're recapping week 2 of July 2023. Chris, how are you, man? Always great to see you.
Well, it's good to see you as well. It was a week. I'm not sure if it was a great week. We had some great stuff. We had some stuff that was not as great. But yeah, it was good to have the guys back at least and talking to us about what they did on vacation and what else happened with them. So yeah.
I know what you're saying. We always get a great show out of the guys, but it was I want to say it was interrupted by Jim's travel. He comes in Monday. We know Jimmy likes to go in early for anything he's doing, a stand-up date, UFC events. He's always going in a day early and leaving a day early, at least, so these things don't happen. But he got stuck in Vegas, still stuck there on Monday for Monday's show. So just after, I believe and maybe you too, had said that Ian would slot in if Jim left the whole show with Sam. Ian was there with Sam on Monday. And it kind of goes as it goes with Ian. I think they played him with a little ska, and him and Sam talked things over to start the show.
I saw on both some Twitter and some other means that Ian was getting a little grief. People weren't really happy about the Monday show. And, first of all, I can't blame Sam because Sam had to find somebody to fill in at probably short notice. And I like Ian. I think Ian's very funny. He knows what he's doing. He's popping right now. It's just not the same. I mean, there's a reason why Jim and Sam work. And when it's somebody else, it's just not the same. So, I don't think it was deserved, the grief that Ian was getting. But then again, I can understand it that it wasn't the thing that we love the most, right?
For sure. It's Jim and Sam, and we always say we like the in-studio talk, love a good guest. But, for Ian, who knows how long a notice he had. And he's a guy that when he's a guest on the show, whether there's another comic there or not, you listen, and he's great. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it, but he might not be used to that kind of a situation where he's actually hosting or co-hosting a radio show. Yeah, he's got his podcast with Jordan, which is actually really good. He was they had a great episode with Jim. But I know there's a little disappointment. They were just on a holiday break before that, so I think the fans are giving him a little grief. But
it's probably like the same way, like in musical theater or something like that, when the stand-in is the actor. You went to go see this play or this musical, and you get the stand-in. You're like, oh, but usually the stand-in's great. So
yeah, they got some good stand-ins. There
you go. But
what
happened?
We got some. Sorry, Chris, if I'm stepping on you with this, but I was going to say that we did get some exclusives from Ian. I'll let you. There was a crime committed against him. I'll let you recap that one. But something that I always think is interesting. I can't believe it's still lasting. Is Hot Dog just hanging around the Comedy Cellar, either just hanging around there or bringing people. So before I thought it was cool because he started work for Jim and Sam. And I always tell people, if you live in New York, I'm so jealous that you can just go there on any given night and see absolute superstars and the best comics in the world. I love the Comedy Cellar. I've only been there once. Chris Rock popped in on a late Thursday night. I was there with my wife. It was amazing. But Hot Dog is just hanging out around there, not even taping for Jim anymore. So it's been years now to where even Ian and other comics are like, dude, why are you just here?
What are you doing there? And he has a plus and minus column, I guess, in my book. His pluses are Sam loves him and trusts him. So he has to have some kind of quality stuff, right? And he's good at some of the things. But then on his minuses, it's the horrible Christmas gifts, thoughtless, the trying to impress girls by going to the cellar and thinking that people are going to recognize, hey, you're Jim Norton's friend, you're Sam, whatever. That kind of stuff just is, maybe it's just youth, I don't know. And then Sam is not using him as much for his thumbnails, on YouTube. So, I know he's Sam's man, but it's confusing at times. But
he's
like you said earlier,
I don't think anything could take that away from Sam. That's his little man's. And we did hear, and I'll let you recap this one, that a crime was committed against Ian.
Yeah, a weird one too. His knapsack, his backpack was stolen from the green room at the comedy club he was playing. And in his knapsack were his pants. So I guess, he goes to the show in pants and then performs in shorts. Little odd, but okay, you can be Ian. He says he has great tattoos. He needs to show them off. Okay, man. So so his pants were stolen, had a key, I think, to his apartment. So he had a really tough night because he had to go back to New York and get a locksmith to help him into the apartment or his apartment. So yeah, he had a lot of things going on off of that theft. But it's odd that you did some stand up. You've been in a lot of green rooms, and I've seen a couple. There is a lot of in and out servers, comedians, maintenance staff, cleaning, taking out the trash, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Who knows? But you'd think they'd be a little more secure. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, get this guy out of here. Yeah, and some are tiny, some are big, some are nice, some are not. It's a wide variety. I want to give Ian a little bit of credit with this too. He was making me crack up with his breakdown of the Jonah Hill text debacle. Everyone knows an ex-girlfriend released some text, and everyone completely saying he's the worst human ever. They didn't read great. Right. Obviously, but we don't have the full context. We don't know like what she did or if there's
were they deleted, were there the responses. Yeah, exactly.
Totally her text. So Ian was just completely trashing the woman because he loves Jonah Hill, and he revealed that him and Jonah Hill were sliding into each other's DMs. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, it was kind of funny that he went really off the rails and was lambasting this woman, and everybody else was like, you just want Jonah Hill to come on your podcast. Well, maybe I do, but who knows? So yeah, that was very funny. Ian did a good job there.
And going with that, it was one of these things where Sam and Ian did a great job breaking it down. And then when you have Jim come back, I think it was the next day, I think on Tuesday, you have Jim, and we all know where he's going to go with this. When he breaks the situation down, he's said it before when that owner's a girlfriend of that one NBA owner revealed his private recording or a phone call got him in trouble. It's that a private message is a private message. It's not like everyone gets angry. Everyone says horrible things they regret. Like these things are not supposed to be public. So it's like, how do you pile on a guy when that's put out there out of context?
Right. He really
I always agree with
that. And I agree with him as well. Yeah. But he also was coming from a place where he had in his past a lot of private things on a phone. So he would lose out big time if those were revealed. Right. Now he's an open book and everybody knows what's going on. But so he is always on the side of the people that have their personal property and in their messages and those things are personal. When they are stolen from him, he defends them greatly.
Yeah, and he's had private things when he had to be more private that he may have accidentally printed by accident.
Yeah, maybe on the printer. Maybe
his girlfriend may have seen.
Maybe some dirty text, but we won't go into that because we don't talk about
old S.
That's right.
Not on this show.
No, sir.
Speaking of, I guess, old S and private things, I for some reason I don't remember hearing this too much, but I remember the whole craze years ago because I was living in the city when Ashley Madison was a big deal. There's a Hulu doc coming, and I have to check it out. What do you remember the guys saying about it?
Yeah, I just remembered that it was very interesting, and they thought it was good, but the acting was horrible because it's kind of like one of those docudramas where they kind of, and the guys and the girls in it acting was pretty bad. So, I mean, I don't mind being entertained. I mean, my wife and I went out for 4th of July, and we're at a restaurant. And there was a couple there within 5 feet of us standing up while we're eating. And there's a band playing. So they're just standing up listening to the band. And they were groping each other. And it was disgusting. Well, we're disgusted by it for a little while. But then it's a show. So we had, dinner and a show. We were able to watch what's going on there. So I would assume watching this documentary, you get educated on what happened and the incredible things that these guys did. Some of them, actually committed suicide afterwards, when they were given up, if you will, when it was released who they were. So there's some really intrigue and interest there. But then, the acting is so poor that, maybe you get the show part of it there. But it's worth checking out. I probably will do that too.
Yeah, I think I will as well. Speaking of checking things out, and I think you talked about a couple putting on a show that did happen with Jim. He made that pretty awkward. We're gonna get to that in a second. But Jim, right when we were, kind of with that, like everyone had that little bit of even though we love Ian, everyone had that little bit of oh, Jim's not here.
Yeah.
He comes back Tuesday. He's not just back. He comes back with a sledgehammer, back with a vengeance. He interviewed the president in Vegas for the UFC Unfiltered podcast with Matt Serra. A great show. If you like MMA, Jim and Matt are so great together on that. They interviewed the former president with Trump, and then he goes on the high roller Ferris wheel for an absolutely legendary Jimmy moment. He admitted to being a C block because there's a couple making out in the Ferris wheel. And Chris, he of course sat across from them because there was two benches, right? That's what he did.
I thought he said that he sat next to them because he wanted to look out while the Ferris wheel was going forward. He couldn't sit backwards because he gets nervous or whatever. He had to look forward, so he had to sit next to them. So he said that they were close by. Now, the thing that you didn't mention is this large Ferris wheel broke down or stopped for a little while, which is hilarious. Because, it's one of Jim's greatest fear. I think he took it like a champ, but it broke down for a little while. So he was panicky a little bit. And of course, called and was trying to find out what was going on with this delay in getting, down from the Ferris wheel. But the couple there didn't seem to mind at all. And they continued to make out. So, yeah, Jim is panicky Jim, but the couple was enjoying their time together.
He said that he also took pictures of them too. They not while they're making out, but they just wanted a picture. So they had no idea who he was, just a guy who sat down next to them while they're making out. And he did have an exchange with the Ferris wheel worker when he got off. You want to say?
Yeah, he asked the guy, what was happening, and the guy said, and I'll do my best way of presenting it. You don't like the heat. That's what he said. The worker said, you don't like the heat. So you would think that something that was built for the desert would probably do well in the heat. So that may not be it. But according to the guy, it don't like the heat. So we'll see.
That reminds me, there's a time in college where we were looking for something to do, my friends and I. And I think there was a reconnaissance mission. I think two guys went to the mall to see if this miniature golf course was still there that we heard was there. And they asked some guy in a shop. This is Champaign, Illinois. Some people sound like that. And they're like, yeah, is the miniature golf course still here? And the guy goes, that is defunct.
That's a good one. I have the same kind of story. My wife and I, when we were dating, I'm originally from Colorado. We went out to this place called Central City, which was this old kind of mining town. Okay. And you can gamble there. So we were gambling and talking to somebody, and the guy said, it was nice. He goes, where are you from? And I said, well, I'm from here, but I'm also living in Chicago. So I'm from Chicago too. So I guess I'm from both places. And he goes, it don't work that way. So it doesn't work that way, I guess. So I have to choose one or the other. So I guess I'm from Colorado, but I guess I've lived in Chicago long enough.
I love that. So those guys, there's just one of those guys like in every region. That's the best.
For sure.
Speaking of Jim coming back with a vengeance, he was doing something with Hot Dog to where Hot Dog was eating a burger in his place, and then Soiree came and ate a burger up at his place, and everyone was with Jim's girlfriend, of course.
Yeah, I got it. It's a great story. So yeah. I guess it was 4th of July actually, and he wanted Soiree to come over. Yeah, he wanted Soiree to come over for a burger, and she really couldn't make it at the right time or something. So Soiree's mom drove her over, and so Jim said, "Have your mom come up too."
Right.
And for some reason, Hot Dog was coming over. I don't remember the reason why Hot Dog came over. So in his apartment, Jim had a mini soiree. Is that what we've been talking about? What is it? What is the
soiree?
Thing?
A soiree.
Soiree. There we go.
Supposed to be the duck and goose from The Shining.
Yeah, I'm getting soiree and whatever the word is confused. But no, he had a mini party, if you will. Yeah. And he had Soiree, her mom, Hot Dog, his girlfriend. They all enjoyed a burger on July 4th and watched the fireworks. But I guess Soiree's mom took off shortly thereafter. But I think it's really cool. I think Jim is, I know Soiree is working for him, and stuff. But I think he really likes her company. And I think probably Jim's girlfriend likes her company a lot. So they have her over a lot just to hang. And I think that's cool.
Yeah. And now that it looks like she's done with the man/woman on the street radio hits for the show. Now she's taking Hot Dog's job. So it's like,
how long is Hot Dog being around?
She's a Jacqueline of all trades.
For sure. There you go.
And speaking of burgers, someone who would never eat a burger is Sammy B. Muffin's more childish eating habits. You can't get away from them. We heard him talk about this at weddings before. When people get the chicken or the steak or the fish, he's going to get some kids menu nuggies. And he went to, I believe it's John Rosenberg. Is that right, Chris?
Peter.
I'm sorry, Peter Rosenberg, a broadcaster in New York, also big with WWE, friends with Sam, and sounds like he got some dough. They had a nice wedding, no kids, which I don't know if I've
rooftop, spending a ton of money. They had caviar bar, they had all these things. So yeah, it was a lot of good stuff. And Sam, it made the paper. This wedding, and Sam was in the paper and I mentioned. So he was just complaining about the paparazzi just hounding him, right? But it's funny, and if you don't mind, I'll kind of tell you the story. Tell our viewers and listeners the story that I guess Sam really couldn't eat any of that stuff, and he's been in these situations before. And Sam's wife, Jess, what a trooper, man! She takes the bullet and she leans over to him and said, "I could ask if they have a kids menu and see what they can do." So, long story short, she kind of did that with the waiter. He said, "We really don't have a kids menu, but I could, make some, chicken nuggets or something like that." She goes, "That would be terrific." So they had to do, then Sam ordered her, bass or sea bass or whatever she wanted. And then they did the switch, but it was caught at the table and Sam had to pay the ultimate price on that. So is Jess the best wife in the world, or is she an enabler and needs to teach this guy to start eating the food that's at his plate and it's good for him?
Exactly. I don't know. And I believe Jim brought up that point that she's like the mom from Sixth Sense with Munchausen syndrome.
Exactly.
Trying to keep him ill.
Keep him the little man that she wants him to be. Yeah, he's lifting weights. He's getting, he's getting buff. He shaved his head. He's looking great. She's got to hold on to his childish eating habits to make him the man that she married, right?
Exactly. And Sam we do know he's working out, and we also know that he appreciates a good physique because they're breaking down Zuck versus Elon, always in the news lately, especially with threads now that is a lot like Twitter. And it's also been kind of on social media that Zuckerberg's been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I think they found out he's still just a white belt, but he's in great shape and he's rolling around. And
more than we are, right?
Yeah, I just did it. I just tapped a few guys.
There you go. Yeah, he looked unbelievable. Now I don't think I've ever seen him with his shirt off. I did see him like surfing where he had like
I was
white
surprised
stuff.
by
he had like all the sunscreen stuff on his face. It was a weird photo. I thought so. But man, with his shirt off, he looked great. He was buff. He was cut. He was in fighting shape. And I think Elon is in for it if this really goes to what they think it's going to be and not the measuring contest that they proposed.
I'd like to see both happen, but I think what cracks me up, this is where Sam cracks me up when he talks about this kind of stuff. He said that he's like, "You guys looks hot," and then the other guy saw the picture like, "Wow," and he's like, "Troy, I thought you were looking at me funny. I said he looked hot. He was hot, right?"
He's not afraid. He's comfortable in his sexuality. Plus, he works with Jim. It doesn't really matter.
Right, totally. And I remember this reminded me. This always cracked me up a few years ago when Ronnie B was coming on a little bit after he lost weight. Sam kept telling him he looked like a snack.
An adult snack, a daddy snack. Yeah, he uses that zaddy comment a lot, right, when he's talking about these guys.
And then, so all of this reminds me of when this is where I think Sam gets this line of hilarity from. When he was an intern, Bobby Kelly would always kind of fake flirt with him.
Sure.
And Bobby Kelly would say, "Here comes the young yummy. Hey, young yummy."
I love
that kind of fake flirting from Sam and Bobby Kelly always makes me laugh.
Yeah, they're great, and Bob always has a special place in his heart for Sam. That's why I said they'd be a good pair down the road.
I was thinking about that. I think you're onto something for sure. They're always very funny together. Something that did not seem funny at all. I should take that back. It was not funny to the person.
A little bit of both, probably. A little bit of both.
Every time it plays, I crack up. I watch it much. It's this woman just freaking out on a flight that Carrot Top happened to be on about how yelling that she can get off a plane because someone's not real.
The man in the back was not real.
Yeah, the man in the back's not real. It's maybe the viral clip of the year so far. I have no idea.
It was weird. Now it gets even weirder because they don't know what man she's talking about. I guess some guy came forward and said, "I'm the man," but we don't know if that's him or not.
No. And
they can't locate this woman anymore either for follow-up questions. So yeah, it's just nuts. It's just really weird. Things happen on flights. I've seen a couple, nothing huge like that. But yeah, it's weird. And they think, the way she was talking in that video, she had some kind of inebriation. I don't know if it was, alcohol or some drugs or something.
I think Ambien
felt like that. Yeah,
Troy
Ambien.
said there was speculation about Ambien.
Yeah, that's right. And
I haven't experienced people on it really, but that could make a little sense.
I heard that it just makes you, just so your dreams are weird, or if you go to sleep or whatever, it's just nuts. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. Speaking of nuts, great segue from you there, Chris. There was some candy bar talk this week. And as much as that can kind of sound like a hack radio thing, it makes you think, like, I will say this. I will defend Sam. He was going hard for the Charleston Chew. Terrible name. It is pretty delicious.
I don't think I've ever had one. Yeah, it was weird. And that was his favorite. Now the guys were talking about Crackle versus Crunch, and where Crackle's good. And someone, I think, was it Sam that said that Crackles always are left over in the fun size bag after Halloween?
I think it was, because he was on defense the entire time.
Yeah.
For that break.
Do you have a favorite candy bar?
Man, I agree. I think I forgot who said Nestle Crunch. It could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it was Cooper. I think
it's Coop. Yeah,
I'm a Coop guy. I love a good Nestle Crunch. I love a good Snickers. I think Twix is the best, man. I can't get enough. Like George Costanza at the car dealership with all the Twix. I like to put them in the freezer. How about you? What's your favorite?
You're not going wrong with any of those choices.
Yeah.
My favorite is Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. I think Troy mentioned that, or Travis did. They're just the best. You just can't beat those. But I had a Kit Kat for my birthday. My wife got me one. It was birthday cake flavored Kit Kat.
Ooh.
And I'm going to put the photo up right now because I was gypped. The wafer only went to about 80% of the length of the candy bar. So it was really weird. So you look at this picture and you go, oh, that's odd. But yeah, it tasted good. It was just a weird kind of factory thing that I wanted to show.
Why are you always taking advantage of as a consumer? You had the
pizza,
Little Caesars, everyone's just
they're just trying to make money. This is so much fun, you and I doing this show, and we're having such a great time, and we're talking to the guys that we like to listen to, and we're having this relationship with them that you got to get a couple curveballs in other areas, and thank God they're not.
You can't always all work out and be roses.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's true. It's always interesting. They're talking about Mr. Beast this week, and I always love, I give all these YouTubers a lot of credit. This is what we're trying to do here. It's like, I just love that this guy, Mr. Beast, got to this level where he's bought a whole town of warehouses, and there's just constant content going. I love it. And you hear about his commercial, there's cars crashing in the background.
Yeah.
So he
knows what he's doing.
Used for the ads. And
so are you saying that Scott King Media will eventually rise to those?
I think so. I'm
going to have to hang on to your coattails a little bit longer then, my friend, because if I leave you too soon and we're still getting 8 views on these pod. No, I'm not kidding. More than that, it's not gonna get us where we want to be. But yeah, it was cool. Now I gotta admit, I've never seen him before.
I don't think so either.
I've heard them talk about it, and this one was about taking a train and crashing it into this big hole. And doing it, but they know how to promote it. They know how to keep the viewers around there, and so maybe there's a couple of things I need to probably watch there to do a better job in editing and putting this show together after we record it. Maybe you can get a little.
Sam was pointing out that he'll just make his thumbnail a little bigger after he sees it and he doesn't like it. It's huge things, and it's attention to detail. I think he's 25, so he's got to be a gillionaire, and it was over 100 million subscribers. We're on our way, and
I only got 30 years on him, so I'll be okay.
Make sure everyone follows Chris Cangilla Productions YouTube as well. One of these is going to take off. We don't know which one yet.
Yeah, and thanks, man. You've been very supportive of the podcast I'm doing with my brother, the video pod. It's on there. Our World War II Dad, and it's been getting a lot of good positive reviews. So if you're out there and you want to learn more about a guy that my dad was in World War II. It's kind of weird. He was 18, and I always thought guys in the World War, when you were kind of watching them, were older. They seem older because they kind of are doing this crazy thing, and they're they seem smart, and they're having to do all these things, but they were kids. So it was just kind of weird. So my dad was a kid fighting in World War II. So we kind of trace his steps there and talk about a lot of things. And so if you get an opportunity, I really appreciate it. It's fun. And I've been enjoying doing that with him. So thank you for all the help.
Awesome angle. And what episode are you on now?
So we're on our third. We just finished our third full episode. You showed us this, and we have a new one coming up. And this next one is talking. We just talked about the Battle of the Bulge, and this next one is talking about wrapping up and VE Day, which is victory in Europe, and then him coming home, and then we'll do a follow up on what he did when he got home. So yeah, it's awesome, a limited series. It's really short, but it's a lot of fun. Thanks,
good for you, Chris. That's great. Everybody check that out. That's such a great idea for a show. Very personal. Something that I hope you don't have to check out anymore, but you kind of enjoy watching. It's like a car wreck. Is Kamala Harris's breakdowns? I don't know where these. I just love that where they play these clips, but I don't know where they're coming from. She gets a topic like just like defining the word culture.
Culture, yeah, and it's a word salad. It really is. I mean, it's
just like just watching her like drone on and on. You're like, how is she?
And Jim made the point, you know, she's a lawyer. You would think that she would be able to talk intelligently and make a point and convince a jury. And then somebody called in and said, yeah, they're just leading you around in different ways. Yeah. I don't know what she's doing. Who knows what these politicians have to do, but yeah, it's confusing and you're trying to listen and figure it out. I mean, I had the same confusion when Trump would talk. So who knows?
Oh yeah, same type of deal. Him is a little maybe more animated and more of a
little more entertaining
train wreck to watch.
Sure.
And then she did the same thing with AI. Like just I mean, what she's saying is true, but just the way she's saying it's just nonsense word salad and just so boring.
Yeah. And Jim was a big fan of AI. He was talking about this new report on these AI creatures, people, robots, whatever, and they're asking them questions and stuff. And I'm just wondering, is it the programming that's giving them these great answers, or are they really thinking about the answer themselves? There's still a lot of worry out there. And Sam made a great point. Sam said, you know, AI is moving forward and people are scared about it. But what he kind of fears is that it's moving too fast, meaning that we're going to accept it and depend on it too much. And it's not going to be ready yet. You know what I mean?
No, I think, that's all true.
So it's a lot. It's weird. Yeah. And then they talked about, you know, AI and computers on jet airplanes and how the airplane can land itself and all that kind of stuff. And anytime we're talking about airplanes, you know, who's top of mind there is Jim. So he's talking about how he found out in the first flying days of commuter flights that they wouldn't get up to, you know, where they go to 30,000 feet. Now with jet engines, they would stay a little lower and it would be very turbulent. Of course, Jim's going to worry about the turbulence, but it'd be very turbulent at the lower levels. It's freezing cold. They weren't heating those fuselages. And they would just have like wicker tables and chairs just set up there, not bolted down. It was a weird thing when they were doing this flight there. So, of course, Jim was flying out that afternoon to go to his Austin gigs, you know, the comedy Mothership.
I mean, Mothership, I'm dying to go there, man. That'd be so fun to go see. This Rogan's Club looks incredible. All the comics love it. It all sells out. And look, and there's turbulence. He's just got to listen to his turbulence song, Rhinestone Cowboy. We know
he's got to listen to that, get up, get down. He'll be fine. So he hopefully is there safe and sound. But I did see a little bit of a couple of videos he made in that Snapchat filter as an old man, both when his flight was delayed and then when he was on the plane and coughing as an old man would do. So
he's been cranking those out. I just like that he's having fun. He's doing
it. Sam said, did you just discover these filters? They've been out for like 10 years, man.
They have been.
It's crazy.
All right. We're starting to slowly run out of time here, but I want to hit best guess because I feel we're going to have the same one. And there's a lot to cover with this one guy. So this week for best guess, we're breaking it down from Jason Ellis. I'm going to take out Ian Fidance because he basically co-hosted the whole show.
For sure.
Brendan Sagalow, Dave Temple, Derek Gaines, and Greg Stone. Those will count as our guests. I'll let you go first, Chris. I think we have the same one.
Well, yeah, of course. We both thought Brandon Sagalow. Just kidding.
Oh, man.
Jason Ellis. My goodness. You know, he was so honest and he's so cool. And he walks these lines. It's just such an interesting life. And he was my favorite. And I'll let you, fill in a little bit about this too, but he's this hardcore skater, former MMA fighter, tough as nails guy. And then he might be gay now and really likes that part of his life. So it's not that he can't be gay and be tough at the same time. He obviously is. Yeah, he but is. It's just this dichotomy of these two kind of personalities that made him extremely interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't like a culture shock like the first time you ever found out about a gay person. But it was like, you're right. No, I just remember him like before he even had a relationship with like Opie and Anthony and Jim and Sam and was on Faction Talk. I remember hearing him on Howard. You probably do too. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I'm gonna be just like you, man. I'm gonna be the biggest radio guy. And you run up just saying that and going on Howard. Howard kept hanging on. He got pretty big. Right. And was this, extreme skateboarder guy that was doing?
Yeah,
MMA.
he revealed that Tony Hawk kind of helped him get that job at Sirius.
Yeah, it was cool to hear that they're friends, and he helped him out a lot. So that's a great part of the interview too. But yeah, he was just this extreme guy and tough guy, and then like you don't hear anything from him for a while. Might have been a little animosity or tension. I don't know. I don't think it was towards Jim and Sam, but just the way things happened with him leaving Faction Talk, and then now he's back few years later, whatever. And
if there's any. Go ahead.
He's divorced from his second marriage.
Yeah. If there's any animosity with Jim and Sam, you would never know it because they welcome him with open arms and really respect him and what he's going through. And he was quite honest how his struggles have been, but he has an OnlyFans site where he will do anything, which is just nuts. And then he told a little story about going through, TSA and security and because his member might be a little bit pronounced, that they have to, make sure. And he goes, yeah, just pat it down. It's fine. And Jim said, yeah, I've never been stopped for that ever. Pretty good.
But it was a amazing interview. Whoever didn't hear it, you should go back and listen. It was definitely the best guest by far. It was great to hear him too. You can tell he missed kind of those guys and being in Sirius and being on the radio. So
I know we're running out of time quickly. I have one question for you. And and this is my stupidity. I remember Jason being on the radio and stuff, but there was a comedian that sounds just like him that had a TV show.
Jim Jeffries.
Jim Jeffries. Thank you for filling me in on that. Because I wasn't sure at first, because we haven't heard from, Jason Ellis in a while, that if it was Jim Jeffries. Is this, I couldn't remember how it was. And Jim Jeffries was hilarious, and that TV show was great.
He was on Opie and Anthony all the time.
Sure.
And that's a great wormhole to go down, is listening to his appearances on Opie and Anthony on YouTube. That's I recommend that. Okay, we covered the guests. Jason Ellis was amazing. Let's get to our final topic here with line of the week. I think we might have a different one. I don't know though. I'll let you go first, Chris. You want to take it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to be surprised, but my line of the week came from Monday. So I didn't really enjoy Monday that much, but Monday's show got me the line of the week. Ooh. Believe it or not, Ian and Sam. Ian's getting heated as we talked about, and he said something. And I can't remember what he said. And he followed it up with, but I may be biased. And Sam said, yeah, you're a bi ass. So, Ian kind of floats both ways, and he was being an ass. So Sam was, Sam, that's my dog. Sorry about that if you heard him.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay. He said that, he's a bi ass, which was a quick Jim-like response from Sam. So that was great. What about you?
People all the time. Sam has some quick comedy. Everything he's learned in those studios. And I think he's naturally funny as well. But yeah, there's some one-liners. So for mine, I got and this is maybe my favorite break we were talking about with Jim. Actually, no, I'm sorry, we didn't talk about this one. I was going to say it was the first one, but it's not. This was when Sam had gone to a water park, and they were breaking that down. Yeah, and same kind of fish out of water situation where Jim's with the makeout couple, Sam's with these I think high school kids.
Yeah, because go ahead.
And then Jim goes, yeah, some creepy guy in a wrestling hat was teaching us how to tear out the lining of our swim trunks.
Yeah, that was a great line. And yeah, Sam had to pop the shirt eventually there. Yes. It was and he's buff now, so he should be fine with that. But yeah, it was weird. We talked about it in our topics from last week, where we're kind of riffing on some things about what you get tired of, what you love about the show, and I gave them a little bit grief that I don't know much about MMA and I don't know much about WWE, and so I don't like those segments as much. But then Jim goes and interviews President Trump because it was a UFC event.
Yeah,
and then Sam goes to this wedding because he knows a guy through WWE and being a broadcaster. So it's important to them. So if it's important to them, it's important to me.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's some cool stuff. And definitely check out Chris's podcast he does with his brother. It's awesome. Definitely recommend you guys check it out. And thanks so much for coming back, guys, and listening and checking out our show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the listens as well. And it sounded like Jim is going to be in Austin. I know he's playing Sunday night. Is he going to be there Monday, Tuesday? He said he's going to take a couple extra days. So is there another vacation coming up? They kind of alluded to that they could be. So if the guys aren't, around next week, you got to know that Scott and I will be here in the town square.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not dog bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.